live, you are live.
Good morning, and welcome to a very chilly sunrise safari. My name is Jamie. I have VM on camera with me this morning. Brent will be out with Dave in a few moments. And we're coming to you live from Djuma and Arathusa game reserves in the Greater Kruger National Park area of South Africa. Not only are we live, but we are also interactive, so you can send through your questions on hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or you can email through to questions@WildEarthTV. And please do let us know. And if you're a new viewer, please don't be afraid to ask questions, but tell your friends and tell your family about the largest safari vehicle on the planet. Oh, what exciting times we have lying ahead for all of us. Tingana was on an impala kill yesterday morning and yesterday afternoon. Brent spent 2 hours tracking him before actually witnessing the kill on foot and racing back to get the vehicle. Now, last night when we left him, we actually Taxon actually closed the sighting to say that it was not allowed to be viewed after dark on the basis that Tingana hadn't quite got around to pulling the impala up a tree. Tingana, of course, being a big male leopard, just in case any of you weren't aware of that. Now, that means that with spotlights about, it adds to an extra level of distraction for the animal. And, of course, it means the possibility that a hyena could come and steal his kill away from him, which is not something that I want. Now, when it gets a little bit lighter, we'll be able to go and see if he hasn't managed to put it up in a tree and he's... But those of you watching the Djuma Dam camera will also be aware that there is a lioness calling somewhere to the south of me. Oh, I think that Brent's just trying to get hold of me. Hold on a moment. Standing by. Okay, copy that. I've just come down to the pan now. Didn't go and check around the dam side. I think I'll turn around and go that side. So, John, you've picked up on the same tracks that Brent has seen, moving up past away towards Quarantine. He's got male leopard tracks heading up in that direction, and a lioness tracks coming down towards the pan along the same road. Brent's going to go and check further south in the direction I was going to go, and I'm going to go back over the dam wall, see if we can't figure out where that male leopard has gone. Hopefully, I'm hoping it's not Tingana having lost his kill and moving off. He was very full-bellied when he made that impala kill. He was not eating it with tremendous relish. So let us just see if we can't figure out exactly where those tracks have come from and where they've gone. Copy. Myself working around the Djuma Dam, checking out the tracks that are around there. Brent says he's got a load of lion tracks trotting all around the dam area, now moving up towards Quarantine, so he's heading in that direction. I'm going to cut across the dam itself and check on the northern side, see if they didn't decide to move towards the Galago Pan area. Once it gets a little bit lighter, then we'll go and we'll check up on whatever's happened around Tingana's kill site. So interesting, because we can hear lions calling, or we did hear lions calling this morning, much further to the south of where we are now. So they must have, it's either a different set of lions, or they've cut south from Quarantine. see if we can't figure out exactly which way the two sets of big cats moved across last night. Isn't that awesome? The Djuma Dam playing host to two of the biggest species of cat in one night. Now, Diana, you were wondering, you know what a lion's roar sounds like, but you've heard story that a leopard soars. And the answer is that is a leopard's equivalent of a roar, so like a lion. And it basically sounds, and forgive me all leopards in South Africa, for I am about to butcher your call. Let me just get over this dip. A leopard sawing sounds something like this. So it sounds like somebody sawing wood. That's a leopard's roar. And I think those of you out there, perhaps you should be sending in your best impression of a leopard sawing. My throat obviously wasn't up to the challenge this morning, but you never know. Give me a shout and see if you can send through your best video of what a leopard saw sounds like. Really, to me, it does sound like somebody sawing wood. Now, Brent's on those tracks. Let's find out what his plans are for the morning.
Good morning and welcome to the Sunrise Safari. My name is Brent Leo Smith. I have Dangerous Dave on the camera. So there are lion tracks going in all sorts of directions around quarantine. I did hear them calling to the southeast. So I'm going to leave these tracks now while it's dark and try and make my way to where I heard them. Hopefully they're still on our property. So exciting times. And once it is a little bit lighter, one of Jamie or myself will go check that last position of Tingana. Hopefully he hasn't lost that impala to hyenas overnight. But a beautiful clear morning. There's not a cloud in the sky. So hopefully we're going to find lots of animals for all our wonderful safari guests on the back of the vehicle. So I did my little impression of a leopard sawing there, and Catherine said, "Oh, leopard saw, I didn't know that." I learned so much here. Well, we're happy to teach and happy to share our love for Africa with you guys. Sorry, I'm just looking for tracks, making sure we don't miss a lion. And you can see beautiful sky in the east. Kevin Catfish, I said at between 4 and 4:30, I heard of buffalo were being disturbed by something mysterious at the pan. Well, not that mysterious, Kevin. It was lions. I saw their tracks where they were chasing the buffalo, but we found the buffalo all intact. So they obviously managed to see off that threat. Quite chilly this morning. And we are heading towards these beautiful dry season skies of not a cloud in sight. Anna Marie hopes that Tingana has hoisted that impala kill. Me too, Anna Marie. I don't want to be negative, but I do have the sneaky suspicion that he has not. And I think he might have lost it overnight. You never know. That's why we'll check, but we'll wait till it's a little bit more light before heading in there, and we can see what actually happened if he has lost it. Well, we check for tracks on the western side. Jamie is checking.
While Brent checks along the western edge of quarantine, we're going to check the northern section of the dam, see if those lions or leopard didn't come across in this direction. So far, no sign of them. Now, last night we received a report right at the end of the sunset safari that an Nkuhuma lioness had crossed onto Djuma, so she's obviously come from the east. The question is now, has she met up with the rest of the pride, or is it just her walking around calling for them? Not entirely sure which it's going to turn out to be. We'll just have to wait until the mystery unravels itself. I'm checking all of these drainage line areas, a favorite of both the lionesses as well as the leopards. Don't think I see any tracks in here. Eileen, who has been joining us for the first time over the last few drives, Eileen is saying that she's never heard the term sawing before when applied to a leopard, and was wondering if perhaps it was wondering whether or not a leopard chuffs in the same way tigers do. No, they don't really chuff like tigers. The sawing is their roaring sound, as we said, and then their contact calls, they do they can make meow, meow sounds to their cubs, but they don't chuff in the same way that tigers do. So they've got an interesting wide vocal range, as do lions as well. The animal out here with probably the strangest, in terms of the big cats, with the strangest vocal noises that they make is a cheetah. Cheetah can chirp almost like birds. Chirp, chirp, chirp. It's the cutest sound. The cheetah chirp, they cannot roar. That's why one of the reasons why they are not lumped together in the same grouping as leopards or lions. That, and of course the completely different physical design, as well as the constantly extended claws, so non-retractable claws, as opposed to the extendable and retractable claws of leopards and lions. Now, we could see cheetah out here. We have before. Fingers crossed when Cheetah Plains comes to be and we're driving around there, we'll see them even more frequently. Now that's a lovely idea. James, I do indeed have VM's calipers with me. They are sitting in the vehicle, whoopsie, along with the beautifully painted Easter eggs from yesterday's Easter egg hunt that I still haven't quite got rid of just yet. But yes, I have the calipers. I think it's a lovely idea to compare Mvula and Tingana's tracks. I just want to make sure that the tracks that Brent found are actually Tingana's. And the best way, or at least to within the closest approximation that we can get. So what I want to do is just make sure that those tracks have come across from where Tingana had that kill to here. But either way, let's go and compare them. When we do find those tracks, we'll go and compare the size of them and just see if we can't figure out or just see, judging by the size difference, that it is him. I mean, it could be Mvula. Mvula was last seen on Simbambili yesterday afternoon. So he's still running scared in a completely different area to where he usually is. That doesn't discount him though. Leopards can cover enormous distances during the night or during the day if they choose to, with their really rapid stride. Sorry, I just want to check here. No, it's just hyena walking along. Hyena and civet. So whilst I suspect that it is Tingana's tracks, I don't know for certain. It could be, unlikely, but it could be that large mystery male, the skittish male that we've seen a couple of times. Again, I don't think so. It's a little bit far out of his territory, especially with Tingana having been hanging out in this area. Shame. I hope Tingana didn't lose his kill last night. It does happen. If he didn't hoist it in a tree, or he might have lost it to hyenas. He might even just have abandoned it. It does occasionally occur that a cat that's been eating regularly and well might decide to abandon a carcass for a number of different reasons. One might be that he's heard another leopard in his territory and he wants to go and investigate. Another might be an approach by a female. There could be a couple of different reasons. Karula, for example, had a half-eaten duiker kill up a jackalberry tree a couple of weeks ago before she had her cubs. And Tundi and Tingana were mating right in the middle of her territory, which I think she found so unimpressive and so off-putting that she abandoned the duiker, immediately lost her appetite, and went to go and growl quietly at her daughter. And as you can imagine, she must have been heavily pregnant at that point, so it must have been even more goading to have Tundi around. It was right before she had her cubs. And X-Ranger, you were wondering, did Tingana manage to at least eat some of his carcass yesterday, since you missed the sunset safari? Yes, he did. He did eat it. He did eat a little bit of it, not scoffing into it like a bless you, Bjorn. Not sort of tucking into it in the same way a hungry leopard might do, but he did feed on it. We'll go and investigate. Now that it's light enough, we'll go and investigate. In the meantime, Brent has found the lions.
Well, guess what we found? A bunch of smelly looking lions. So these are the guys who are calling. So I think they walked straight through the center of Djuma. We have now found them right on our eastern boundary. Look at them. They look like they've been eating something, or at least rolling in something. So we got 4 out of the 5 boys. And there's one lying on the other side of the road, and there's 3 on our side of the road. And I'm hoping they still give 1 or 2 more roars in the early morning. No, so we don't really need the spotlight there. Hello, big boys. So I think this is what was harassing buffalo around the pan last night. Unfortunately, they weren't successful. Wouldn't it have been nice if they caught a buffalo on our doorstep? Oh, he's had a busy night. Head's getting heavy. Oh, there we go. Located 4 Birmingham Angola, Twin Downs Junction, Gary, Maine.
Good morning. I'm approaching the place for the Kingway. I'll let you know now.
Copy, thanks.
Small Pomodoro there.
FM 4 Mandora here.
Thanks.
Oh, look at that, Dave. Can you spot the jet plane now right on the horizon, cutting through the cold air? And that is more than likely coming from, I'm going to guess this is the London flight, and it lands at about 6 a.m. in Johannesburg and flies directly over this part of the world. So a big Safari Live welcome to Barbara, who's a brand new viewer. And she's wondering how I know. She's been posting and she doesn't see any Bluetooth device for me to see what she's saying. Well, we have directors who sit in our final control and they send us through the questions and they watch the different forms of social media and email. Sorry guys, I just need to give a quick update on the eastern channel because we're on the boundary. Oh, knob-bill ducks flying, Dave, in the silhouette. So here we go, we're going to get them. There they go. Off go the knob-bill ducks in search of some pans. Morning stations in the east. Is anyone copying me? At 4 Birmingham, my daughter's Gary Main junction with Twin Dams or Baboon Pan. One station here and another station from the north making their way. Space for one. Copy, thanks. If you can't get hold of me, I'm going to be jumping between the two channels to make sure we don't get too many movers like last time the Ngalo were here.
Morning, speaking in Southern Drive. For beat up update, copy, I'll check step by one.
So guys, unfortunately I have to put my radio on scan because we're right on the boundary between the east and the north, so to speak. So to make sure we can manage it properly, I've got to jump between channels, and a lot of the guys in the east don't have the northern channel. So I do apologize for the radio chatter that's going to be happening.
Morning, go. You take two behind me. Thank you.
So just as I was waking up this morning and Jamie and I were walking towards the car, we heard these guys calling in the distance.
I can check that. They say they are there by Tindam, must be somewhere by the northern side of Ndela. Good morning, sections. Reach my please. Any other please? Birmingham, Ndala said there by Tindam.
So Sandra says, look how beat up these boys are looking. I don't think too beat up. I think they caught something small and they've had a big fight over the meat that's there, and you can actually see if we zoom in on these two particularly, you can see there looks like there's blood and stomach contents on them. They are looking a little bit manky this morning, not looking very pretty, but they've obviously had a snack overnight, and also walking through the dew gives them a slightly bedraggled look as well. Stations in the north, I've kept one space open for anyone who'd like to come to these Birmingham Madodas. Okay, copy, thanks very much. Sorry guys, as soon as someone else gets here, I'll hand over the control of the radio, but till then, it's just me here, so I do have to make sure that everyone gets the best and most fair chance to see these boys. Now, fingers crossed that they decide to give us one more bout of roaring before it gets too warm. So the 5th Birmingham has been on honeymoon, and he's been mating with an Nkuma lioness, and I think that's probably the one that is not here at the moment. But from what I heard, they finished mating yesterday, and that one Nkuma lioness did head back into Djuma. So we will try have a look for them a little later, but I think for now, let's stick with these fat, lazy, big boys. And we can see those paws. So those are what we were following down the road, or the tracks left by them. And on nice dewy mornings, they do shine very nicely.
One more thing there now. I'll let you know when I want something.
Okay, so I'm going to have a bout of serious game drive chatter, so I'm sure you guys don't want to listen to that. So we're going to jump across to Djuma while I just deal with the radio quickly.
Okay, so we've got news on Tingana whilst Brent is just sorting out game drive comms, and that is the fact that he's lost his kill. We're not sure how. I'm just listening to Taxon on the radio, but it seems as though he has lost that kill. This wildebeest was calling on quarantine. I don't think it was an alarm call though. I think it was more a territorial call. Just have a look at him since he's presenting such a beautiful view to us. See how black the face is all the way to the top of the horns? That plus the fact that they extend past the ears, if he looks at us at some point. It's not always immediately apparent if you're looking at a female or a male wildebeest. In this case, it's a lone male, making his way quite possibly to go and have a drink around the Djuma Dam pan. Oh, I love it when they do that. He's having a great time. That's a combination of dust feeling good around his parasites and itches, and the fact that he has a preorbital scent gland just around his eyes. So very common for wildebeest to rub their heads against trees, particularly where they have a sort of irregular midden sight. As I'm sure most of you know, male wildebeest have a different approach. Rather than trying to collect females, they like to defend a territory, and the better the territory, the more appropriate it is, and therefore the more females they're going to attract. So obviously, territory like this, lots of grass, lots of water, is a really good place to be, albeit you have to share with a couple of buffalo. Let's just see if any of them decide to chase him grumpily. Oh, he's not taking any chances. He's going to dash right past them. Is it? It is a really, truly beautiful morning. So yes, he definitely was in the process of defending his territory. So that rubbing against the sand was a combination of scent marking as well as just enjoying a morning dust bath. The reason he sprinted past the buffalo is because buffalo are notoriously grumpy, and they have been known to chase other animals, including wildebeest. There was that amazing situation with Brent and the brand new wildebeest calf that was only a couple of minutes old, that promptly walked past a buffalo, made its first big mistake in life, luckily not the worst mistake it could have made, walked past a buffalo, and the buffalo immediately knocked it over with its horns. And baby wildebeest demonstrating that incredible ability of young mammals to spring back up again. But nevertheless, an important lesson in that young wildebeest life, and who knows, maybe our wildebeest that ran past the buffalo has also learned that particular lesson at some point in his life. It's the same group of buffalo that I saw yesterday. I'm sure I saw a zebra as well. But I'm faced with a very empty clearing, which suggests maybe not. I'm going to go on and search and see if I can't figure out where Tingana went from his kill site. While I do that, let's go back across to Brent and his lions.
So we've got one raised head. Oh, very slightly raised before back down. And there's not much that can really sleep like a male lion. I mean, there's not much to challenge a male lion out here apart from possibly another male lion. The only thing that'll really chase them when they're in this type of spot and having a nap would be elephants. So it looks like they traversed around a lot of Djuma last night, chasing buffalo. And unfortunately, as I said, I think they did catch something small, just judging by the mess around a lot of their faces. but nothing big. So whatever it was, it's all gone. Now, big male lions like this have a huge appetite, and they're able to engulf up to about 15 kilograms of meat in a single sitting.
Yeah, I'm copying you.
So, lions lie around like this. Does it mean they have just eaten? Not necessarily. Lions are not the most energetic of creatures, and they're designed to be so. They sleep for about 20 hours out of 24, so they can be quite lazy. Lazy is the wrong word. They have a great difficulty in dealing with heat, and that is why they're mostly nocturnal, and they'll do a lot of their moving at night, and that moving will also be in little bouts. They'll normally move and walk for 20 minutes, half an hour, lie down for 20 minutes, half an hour, and during the daylight hours, you'll probably find them sleeping for the majority of the daylight hours. Sometimes now in the early morning, you might find them moving, but as it gets warmer, I'll find a nice shady spot and spend the day sleeping. So Jamie's gone to have a look where Tingana had that impala kill last night, and it wasn't a hyena who stole his impala. Apparently the tracks of these lions went straight into where his kill was and disappeared with what was left of his impala. So that's probably what they snacked on last night. So a big Safari Live welcome to Maddie, who's a brand new viewer on YouTube. Maddie would like to know why the lions don't seem to care about us being here. Well, Maddie, very, very simple explanation. Because we're in a car. If we were on foot, it would be a very different story. They would probably run away from us on foot. Humans are the... Oh, bless you. The dominant diurnal animal is the human being, so they have a certain amount of respect for us in daylight hours. Oh, shh, 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 shh. They're going to roar. Stay on him. He looks like he's about to roar. Gave a slight little like he might think about it. But no. Back to snoozing. No, back to snoozing.
Yeah, if you call my colleague with the company, and the guys from Vegas, I have to check also from that hotel. So this is going to be a long get.
So let me just finish off with Maddie's question. Sorry, we got sidetracked there a little bit. So Maddie's wondering why they don't worry about us in a car. Now, a car's only been around for about 100 years, just over 100 years, and they don't have an instinctive response to a car like they would to the upright bipedal figure of a human being. So a car also doesn't smell like anything particularly appetizing. It smells like diesel or petrol and oil, and it's just this big thing. It doesn't smell like food. It doesn't act like food. And if you drive carefully, they become very, very used to the vehicles like these are, and they pretty much ignore them. So it is great to be able to spend time with these animals. And in an area like the Sabi Sands, these lions have probably, and they come from the Timbavati, which is another game reserve. These lions have spent their whole lives since young cubs being viewed on game drive vehicles. So it is just normal for them. have a little bit of makeup under their eyes, that really white sort of stance there. Now, you'll notice that on leopards as well, and a lot of nocturnal animals will have that there, and it's to help catch as much ambient light in the darkness as possible. As we've mentioned many times, cheetah will have the opposite. They've got dark under their eyes because they are mainly diurnal hunters. So Natasha, who's in Ontario, is wondering, can lions swim? They can. They don't particularly like it sometimes, but in certain parts of Africa, they're forced to cross lots of different rivers and lakes, like in northern Botswana, in the Okavango Delta. They are forced to swim quite regularly. So there, those lions swim. Here, you'll find that the lions swim very infrequently. And I have seen them swim in the Sabi Sands before, crossing the Sand River, and it's quite a sight because they seem to hiss at the water, and the lions here have a very big, healthy respect for crocodiles. So Sophia, who's a brand new viewer on YouTube, says, "Hi guys, I'm new here. What's going on? What is this thing that's happening?" Well, Sophia, welcome to a live African safari. We're sitting in the heart of the Lowveld in the Greater Kruger National Park, and we're sitting next to 4 male lions having a snooze live. So you're seeing these at the same time as me. Sorry guys, I just need to get onto the radio again quickly. So just excuse me. Abel. For when you find out, we'll call tax in. Is Orbs out yet? Okay, copy, thanks. So guys, well, Jamie's got some female lion tracks. Let's go have a look while I deal with the logistics of running a sighting.
I promise you, I did have lioness tracks about 2 seconds ago, and I think they've just gone off the road. Hold on 1 second. I just want to check further up ahead, make sure that they don't come back on. Otherwise, we'll go back and I'll show you the tracks that I was talking about. Been tracking them all the way up into the road, just to the point that Brent sent you back over to me. No, she's gone off the road. Okay, so let's go back and I'll show you the tracks that I was talking about, and then I will continue to track her. It must be that lioness that they saw crossing onto the property yesterday, trying to relocate the rest of the Nkuhuma pride. I'm just making sure that she's not in the road somewhere ahead of me. These tracks are very, very fresh. Sorry, Biam. Didn't mean to bash you on the head with a branch. Watch out. There you go. Tracks on top of all of the vehicle tracks, every other track on the road, and crisp and clear in this morning light. So whenever I think she walked along this road relatively recently in the last few hours or so. There's a good chance, you know the way that lions walk, they cover a little bit of distance and then they stop and they lie down for a rest. Hopefully we catch her before she decides to cross either across our western or across our northern boundary. Right, she must have gone off. Liam thinks he spotted where she lay down. Are you able to get that on camera? Perfect. Beautiful. There you go, her track right in the middle. Thank you, Liam. Well spotted. And there, this ground all stuffed. And in fact, it looks, I'm trying to work out if it looks like more than one individual. We thought we saw 2 sets of tracks initially, but then when I started following them down the road, they'd moved. Okay, so she's cut onto that game path from where they were lying down, straight to the north. There you see that path that runs up into the block. Animals, as you know, like to use paths. It's slightly easier. It's the same reason that they like to use roads. It is an easier passage. It's quieter. And it means less of moving through an area. Well spotted, Liam. Awesome. This is why we have such great cameramen. They can help us track as well as film everything that we're doing. Let's go see if we can't find her. Last we heard, the Nkuhuma pride was on Manuleti, apart from the female that was wandering across Djuma. Let's go onto Aubrey's Road and see if we can't track her. Unless she's hiding in there somewhere. Now we've got to know our lions of this area very, very well. And TV Stain was actually wondering how many lions do we have. There she is. Got her. I had a feeling those tracks were so fresh. Can you see her there, Liam? You got her. Hey! Lion Day today! Exciting stuff. Let's go and make our way a little bit closer. Liam, that was some good teamwork there. Hey, that's terribly exciting. Unfortunately, it's a very thick block, so we're going to have to make our way in, or find our way in here. While we work our way a little bit closer to her, let's go back over to Brent and his lions.
Well, what a lion morning. Jamie's just found the girls. I'm not sure exactly where. So we've got the boys and the girls out and about on Djuma this morning. So exciting stuff. And Jamie's just going to offer a little bit to try and get closer to that lioness. And then we'll be able to have a look who it is. I'm pretty sure it might be one of the Nkuhuma ladies who was mating with these boys. So what's going to happen? These guys, I think they're pretty much done moving for the evening or for the morning. The only movement they're going to do from here is when it gets a bit warm, they're going to find some shade. Hopefully they find some shade back towards our side and don't venture further to the south. But unfortunately, it seems that their patrol normally goes further to the south than to the north. They've already come through from around quarantine where they were chasing buffalo. So it must have been quite a spectacular scene if these 4 male lions stole Mr. Tingana's dinner. So he would have made quick time getting away from there. And the fight that would have ensued with 4 male lions fighting over such a small carcass as an impala would have been quite incredible. And that's why we've got this very dirty face. They've got some stomach contents on them. They've got a bit of blood. So would have been really, really interesting. But a male leopard would have got out of there very quickly. I don't think he would have even looked over his shoulder at 4 male lions advancing. if we look on this guy here, you can see some of that sort of stomach content and whatnot I was talking about, and on his face. So that would have been from feeding and fighting. These boys are very, very sleepy. Sorry guys, I do need to get onto the Game Drive channel again to organize the logistics. So these guys aren't moving. So we're gonna see if we can go back to Jamie while I sort out the pandemonium that's ensuing on the Game Drive channel.
There we go. We have attempted to squeeze our way in here. It is very, very thick. There are in fact 2 lionesses here. That looks like amber eye. Is that? No, it's not. I thought it was amber eyes. It isn't. But I'm fairly certain it's one of the Nkuhuma lionesses. The second is lying up to the left, unfortunately very much behind a bush. As you can see, the vegetation is very thick here, so we can't get too much closer at the moment. But I don't think that they're actually going to stay here. I think that they're going to carry on moving, probably try and look for the rest of their pride. Hello, girl. Yes, I see you looking. Here are the rest of your ladies. What a wonderful start to the morning. And the nice thing is nobody wants to come to our lionesses, so we've got them all to ourselves. Yep, she's getting up. Now, Phil has suggested that one of our lionesses, oh no, she's not getting up, she's lying down again. Phil has suggested one of our lionesses might be having a secret meeting with Birmingham boy number 5, quite possibly continuing to broker the peace deal that has been established between these lionesses and the males that Brent has. They have been seen mating over the last few months, different individuals at different times. The last one we saw was, when was that? It was about 10 days ago, around Twin Dams, before she rejoined the rest of her pride and he moved off to rejoin his brothers and cousins. Now, the Nkuhumas seem to split and come back together on a very regular basis, not always necessarily connected to the movements of the Birmingham boys. And it does sometimes beg the question that some of them are not disappearing off to mate with the Birmingham boys, particularly when all Birmingham boys are present and accounted for, but also the possibility that they are sneaking in mating sessions with other males of the surrounding areas. Why do I say that? Well, that's what recent research has shown, is that lionesses, just like female leopards, will attempt to mate with as many males as possible in order to ensure the survival of their cubs. So that basically every single male within a nearby vicinity or that they might possibly encounter could be tricked into thinking that they are the father of the cubs. I'm trying to work out exactly which lionesses they are, but for those of you who get the closer view from the camera, if you could let me know and just confirm that it is the Nkuhuma lionesses, that would be hugely helpful. Now, we were very lucky to spot the tawny lionesses lying down right behind a termite mound. They are so beautifully camouflaged, particularly when she has her head down like that. Thank goodness she looked up at us as we drove past, although I think I probably would have walked from that position otherwise. But Say What was wondering, do lionesses get different colored coats at different times of the year, or do lions? The answer is no, they don't. Their coat color will change more with age and will be varied depending on the area that you're watching lions in. When they are born, when they are young cubs, they are quite spotty. They're covered in little spots all over them, particularly the belly and the legs, as an extra degree of camouflage for them when they're at their sort of most vulnerable. As they start to grow older, those spots almost, but never quite, disappear. But once they've reached their adult coloring, that is what they will stay at for the rest of their lives. They might go, some lionesses go a little bit paler as they get older, and male lions very often go darker. Their manes grow darker with age. So the Birmingham boys from November, when I saw one for the last time in the space of about 2.5 months, their manes have filled out tremendously and they have gone darker with time. I know that I'm sure many of you want to get another view of the lioness that's at the back. I promise you that I will try and get there. It's just going to be a rather interesting experience. Here you go. You can see her in the process of licking her foot. You can just see the flashes of movement in the sun behind her. And in fact, I'd like to get onto the other side of them at some point to try and view them from in this beautiful morning light, because it is a stunning morning in this thick green vegetation. Now, TB Stain, you're just comparing our sighting between Brent's Birmingham boys and our lionesses, and you were wondering, are lionesses in general cleaner than the males? It depends what they've been doing. Yes, to an extent. Actually, now that you mention it, I have noticed that lionesses tend to be a little bit cleaner. That being said, if they're busy feeding off the carcass, they aren't terribly concerned by being covered in bits of carcass and stomach contents and whatever else they happen to be. Now, it's very hard for me while they're lying down at this distance to tell you exactly how full they are or when last they ate, but they are looking relatively clean compared to, and when I last saw the Birmingham boys, they were also looking, I think grubby is probably the best description I could give them, but it depends on what the lion's doing, and I don't think there's any great difference between the hygiene of a male versus a female. I mean, at the moment, the female at the back, though you can't see her, is clearly having a jolly good clean. Now, licking of the paws like that, if they start to yawn, and if both lionesses start licking their feet, then there is a good chance that they're going to get up. Personally, I don't think they're going to stay here. I think that they are planning on carrying on. They just happen to lie down for a quick break. I'm just listening to the Game Drive channel quickly. I'm just listening to Ephraim chatting a bit about maybe looking for Tingana and whether or not he's found any drag marks leading away from the carcass. From what we can tell, as I said earlier, it seems as though, or as Brent I'm sure has mentioned, it seems as though the lion stole Tingana's kill last night. So this time, not the hyena responsible for the theft, but either the lionesses that we're looking at now or the male lions that Brent is seeing. There's tracks leading away from that sighting. Now, while I try and reposition, let's go back across to Brent and find out what he thinks, or who he thinks stole Tingana's kill.
So these big boys have not moved an inch since you were last here. The beautiful morning light has descended upon them though, making them look a little bit more pretty in their scruffiness this morning. So Eileen has noticed that their noses still look a little bit pink, so she thinks they must be quite young, even though they are the dominant males. Well, Eileen, they're around 6 now, and pink noses in lions is not a very accurate way to age a lion. I've seen lions that I've known are well over 10 years old with pink noses. So it's a very general rule and not a very good rule. You do find animals that have pink noses throughout their lives, but normally in a lot of lions their noses do go black the older they get, or darker. But in this case, you can see he's 6 and he's still got a pink nose. Where are my binoculars now? I think I spotted something. Oh, David, you see this guy who's got his back to us? It looks like he's got a little bit of a wound behind his ear there. Where have I put my binoculars? So, there we go. That looks quite fresh as well. Just have a quick look. Looks like it is quite fresh, and you probably find that's from fighting with his coalition mates over that small impala last night that they stole from Mr. Tingana. That doesn't look too serious, just a superficial wound.
I think the area is not safe for the
Now, it does look like they are just fast asleep. So Bill and Marsha are wondering about social dynamics in male lions. Is the oldest the most dominant? Is he here? Is he off mating? Well, it's generally the most aggressive is the most dominant, and that can change. So there's a constant sort of shifting in male coalitions, with dominance varying between the different individuals depending on the exact moment or time. So at the moment, while they're all lying like this, and there's no female to fight over or no food to fight over, it's very difficult to distinguish which one is dominant. And a lot of those dominance plays, etc., only become important when there's a female or food to fight over. So Karen, who's in Pickering, would like to know about male lions' manes and how long do they take to grow, when do they start showing, etc., etc. So you can see the mane start developing even from quite young, from below a year, but just a little sort of tuft underneath the chin, so to speak, and a little tuft behind the ears. And it is a sign of testosterone. So it's testosterone that causes the mane, and the darker the mane, the higher the testosterone level in the lion. And in research in Tanzania, the darker the mane's lion, the more preferential mating he gets. The females actually seek out darker male lions, and they seem to have a longer mating life than the blondies. Now, they continue to grow throughout a lion's life, but you could probably say from anything from about now 6 years, 5-6 years, that they are fully developed. So guys, I don't think they're going to move too much. So we have had a spectacular sighting, and there are lots of people waiting to come see these lions. And I think we're probably going to move off shortly. And see what else we can find in this glorious morning light. And so we're going to leave these big boys. We might come check on them a little bit later, but as I said, this is about the most action they're going to show for now. So let's go see what the Nkahuma girls are up to with Jamie.
Now, I haven't had a chance to reposition just yet. We were just making sure that our camera lens was clean and free of any dust and rubbish. But the lionesses are still here. The one lioness is showing signs of skittishness. She's been, not this lioness that's lying down, obviously, she's quite happily fast asleep. But the other that's still at the back there keeps lifting her head and keeping a very close eye, not so much on me, but I think the sounds of an elephant herd moving across behind us. I can't tell you exactly where those sounds are coming from. It sounds as though they're across the road on the other side of the block. Also just been trying to listen to the Game Drive channel. Ephraim, it seems, had a brief visual of a male leopard close to Buffelshoek Dam. But it seems as though it's that very skittish male that's been hanging out there, because he said that he saw it and immediately the leopard moved away from him. So they could well be there. I do want to try and reposition. There's a lot of trees and bushes, so it is going to make a little bit of a noise. So let's just stick with these lionesses for now, with the view that we have. One very sleeping-looking lioness. I also want to try and double-check that it is just the two of them and not the rest of them hiding further in the block. Sandra is one of our newer viewers and would like to know a little bit about the dynamics of the lion prides in this area and how many and which ones. She said that she's a little bit too new to know them all just yet. Sandra, my suspicion is that this is an Nkahuma lioness, Nkahuma being the local name for a tree known as a brown ivory tree. Now, this pride initially, when I first started working here, was a pride of 8 strong, with 6 lionesses, 2 sub-adult lionesses, and 1 sub-adult male. Apparently it was 9 just a few months previously to that, or prior to that, when there was another adult lioness. Now, 2 of the lionesses killed by the Birmingham boys, 1 of the sub-adult lionesses also killed in the process of that whole takeover. We're left with 5 lionesses, 4 fully grown lionesses, and the 1 surviving sub-adult lioness that has now reached adulthood. The last member of the pride that has now moved off was a male called Junior, who was part of this pride. He was just at that age where he was going to start dispersing anyway. He was around 3 years old when the Birmingham boy takeover occurred. And as a result, because the lionesses were attempting to protect him, and because it is such a dangerous thing for a lion pride to have a young male with them, because all of the males in the area will target him as potential competition, there was a time when the lionesses, the Nkahuma lionesses, were basically gone from our lives for a while. They were running scared. But eventually Junior moved off. The lionesses started mating with... Just let the Franklin finish their conversation. Oh, there's an angry elephant somewhere trumpeting in the distance. Could be what's made the lionesses a bit skittish. But But yes, sorry, back to the pride. Junior moved off. The Nkuhumas started mating with the Birmingham boys as a sort of a in order to placate them and to pacify them. The takeover has now been successful, and we're probably anticipating in the next 2 or so months potential new arrivals to the Nkuhuma pride to boost their numbers. So as it stands, 5 lionesses, 1 just about reaching adulthood. Now, there's also the Styx pride that we see in this region. The Styx pride has 3 lionesses that we've seen recently. All 3 are heavily pregnant as a result of the takeover. Now, we could be also expecting new arrivals from them. There's the 5 Birmingham boys, 4 of which you saw this morning with Brent. There's a 5th one off somewhere doing something, possibly with a lioness, possibly just moving off on his own. Male coalitions do split and come together like that very regularly. There's also the Salala pride, the Salala pride, 3 sub-adult young males, 1 tailless lioness and 1 lioness or 2 other lionesses, depending. They've also been in a bit of a state of flux because the Birmingham boy takeover, when they moved into this area, they actually kicked out 2 males known as the Matimba males. The Matimba males crossed south to Londolozi, and by the way, they are both fine and well. After that fight with the Majingilans, there was a moment that they were considered, one of them was considered possibly badly injured, if not dead, but he seems to be fine. But they went into the Londolozi area, so to the south of us, and essentially did what the Birmingham boys did to the Nkuhumas, which was terrorize the Salala pride a little bit, particularly the Salalas with the 3 young sub-adult males. So they pushed up into this area for a while. And those are generally our key players within the lion grouping around here. There's additional players. There's the Salati males to the north in Buffelshoek. We hardly ever see them. We've seen them about twice. One of whom has got quite a bad limp and has had a bad limp for months now, but is still doing fine. There's also the Talamati pride with a couple of youngsters, or quite a few cubs of around, I think there's around 8 of the cubs, 7 or 8 of them. We've never seen them. I've never seen them. I don't think they've ever been seen on the live shows, but we could, potentially, depending on how lion territories fluctuate over the next few months. I don't think so, though. And that largely sums up our main lion players in this area. Diana, I don't know. I don't know that these are the Nkuhuma lionesses. It's very hard for me to judge at the moment with this view, with one with her head, or both with their heads down. I suspect it's them. I can't tell you for absolute certain. I'm guessing it's them because of the current position that we're in. The Styx females, whilst they do come up towards the Djuma pan, have recently remained far further to the south. So right in this sort of central core area of their home range. They overlap with the Nkuhumas, basically around Djuma and Arathusa, and Cheetah Plains as well, and Koro side, so to the southeast of where we are now. And they have come into conflict before. Now, just seeing 2 here, and I can only see 2, and I don't think there are any others hiding away, I can't tell you for absolute certain that it is the Nkuhumas. I think it is. When it comes to identifying individual lions, a lot of them have nice nicks and scars. You factor in different combinations. One is the area that they're in, which makes it more likely that it's the Nkuhuma lionesses. 2 is their whisker spot patterns. So the dark spots along where the rows of their whiskers remain the same throughout their lives. So you can actually, if you're looking for the proper scientific method, that would be how you go about it. And then a lot of our viewers have come to know, and we've come to know the Nkuhumas very, very well. And you get an idea of just the overall size and impression of the animal, what they look like generally, just like you learn to recognize people to an extent. That's not to say we don't always get it wrong, particularly since we don't share the exact same view that you see through the camera. So I suspect it's the Nkuhumas. The only thing that's made me doubtful is the size of one of those tracks, or both of those tracks, which are quite small. The Nkuhumas have incredibly large feet, but I don't know if it's just because of the dew in the sand and the way that the tracks have fallen. Maybe they just look smaller to me than normal. I'm not entirely sure. I was about to draw your attention to that oriole, but it flew off as I thought about it. Another one chirping away, whistling away, but I can't see exactly where it is. somebody's feeling particularly sleepy this morning. I'm sure you're all as interested as I am to work out which lionesses we have here. But we'll stay with our view that we have for now. Particularly since I think it's going to take a couple of Austin Power style 20-point turns to loop around them. I'm going to take some serious navigating skill. Black-headed oriole. Now, I do want to reposition, and it's just going to take me a few moments. I'd prefer to do that whilst not on air. So let's head over to Brent for now, and I will catch up with you very shortly.
So we've left those lions, and they're not moving at all, and there's quite a lot of other vehicles that want to go have a look, and we were lucky enough to have them all to ourselves for quite a while early in the morning. So I've just got a report of a male leopard, an unrelaxed male leopard. That was a brief glimpse was seen. So I'm slowly making my way into that area to see if we can possibly find him. It seems like the cats are out to play in this glorious morning light on this sunrise safari. Ephraim. If I want to look for that Wanunengwe, where's the best place to check? Where was the last visual you had?
Yeah, keep coming to the car and see them right here. We're going to drove. I will say the way that you will come back.
Okay, copy. Thanks very much. So Ephraim just saw him, and there's apparently a drag mark around, so he might have a kill. So what we might do is try to establish where the kill is. If it's an unrelaxed leopard, we actually will leave him alone. We'll try to get a view of him, but we won't put too much pressure, go too close. So we obviously want him to become a relaxed leopard, and the best way to do that is at night. Leopards are far more comfortable at night, so if he has got a kill and it's up in a tree, we'll start viewing at night from a bit of a bigger distance. And one must remember, Tingana was an unrelaxed male at one stage. He used to run away from cars, and now look at him, he lies right next to us. So another new viewer, so big welcome to Steve on welcome to the Safari Live family. Steve says, I'm new here, so I'm not sure, is Tingana a type of leopard or is it his name? Tingana is his name. It means the shy one. So when he first started being seen, he came from a western area where there's not a lot of vehicles, and he was very skittish around the cars, like this leopard we're about to go look for right now. So we will try with this new leopard to try slowly habituate him to being calm around a car. So it's quite an interesting time, and one of my favorite things is to habituate unrelaxed animals to the vehicles, and you need quite a bit of patience, and you drive quite carefully and slowly. You keep a lot more distance than you would normally, but it is quite exciting, and it's always exhilarating to see a new big cat. So there's been 2 unrelaxed male leopards seen in the last while. One is a very big male, they call Djuma, and the other is a young male. So I'm not sure which this is. I'm about to meet up with Ephraim. We're going to have a little meeting and discuss where the best way to look for this leopard is. While we do that, let's go have a look at those gorgeous lionesses with Jamie.
We have managed to reposition, and as we did, the second lioness just got up. She's eating grass and trees. Let's maybe with a bit of an unsettled stomach. She's also got a fresh injury on her left side that looks very much like a bite wound. I mentioned that she's constantly looking up. She is a little bit nervous in her own way. Hello, girl. Who have we got here? This is the Nkuhumas. I'm almost certain that this is the lioness, the older lioness. I'm not sure who the individual at the back is. If you guys could just confirm that for me, I'm relatively certain. Fairly empty bellies. So they are relatively hungry. I wonder if they were not responsible for the loss of Tingana's kill and where the rest of the pride actually is. Beautiful in this morning light. I don't think they're going to stay here either. I still feel as though they're going to keep moving while it's cool enough for them to be able to do so. Marsha was wondering, we had to track these lionesses to find them, but very often we manage to find lioness by following alarm calls or lions or any other big predator. Marsha was wondering, would there be any animals to alert us to their presence at night? And Marsha, less so than during the day. But that being said, especially on full moon nights, monkeys will wake up and alarm call at them. The things like dukops and thickneys, or as they're now known, thickneys, will alarm call. I just heard a zebra, so did she. That yip yip sound of zebra coming into conflict with each other. So Marsha, thickneys might alarm call. Franklin might alarm call if they are disturbed, but for the most part they tend to be quite happily fast asleep at night. There the zebra go again. Just want to sit and listen for a moment, so does she. What do you think, ladies? Is it worth investigating, or is that grass just a little bit too interesting? The sound that I heard before it stopped was zebra yipping at each other, and it didn't sound like alarm calls. It sounded like they were coming into, whether it might have been a male or a female that was being bitten by another member of the herd. It sounded like an internal dispute. She heard it as well, but difficult to hear anything over the current cacophony that the birds of Djuma are making this morning. They are singing away their dawn chorus. Most prominent is the call of the Cape turtle dove. There's also the black-headed oriole whistling away. A whole wide range of robins, testiculars, drongos calling as well. The birds loving this morning, as am I. Doesn't get better than starting off your day with lionesses illuminated in the morning light. Good to know it's not just us that get annoyed by the biting flies out here. Let's see if we can't see the injury on this lioness as she walks towards us. It's not huge. She's walking stiffly. So something has happened. That was very clearly, I love you, but please don't lie on top of me. That was the second lioness. Oh, sword and paw, thorn and paw. Okay, off they go. We're going to try and stay with them. It is going to be very tricky from our perspective. I'm going to try and stay on this game path that I can see. Hopefully we should be able to keep up with them. I didn't think they were going to stick around. Just let Taxon go ahead of me. His guests haven't had a very good view yet this morning, so I'm going to let them go ahead. I don't think that they're going to be able to, in their long vehicles, keep up as well as we will. But it would be very convenient if he just went ahead of me and cleared the way. They're going. Stopped there, and just as an interesting aside, my brakes have just gone. Just as a random little fact of information. Off they go. Well, this will just make the whole experience far more interesting. I wonder when that happened. I can't see any brake fluid pouring out, but there's definitely no resistance when I put my foot down on the brake pedal. That's okay. When I first started working as a safari guide, the vehicle I drove was completely without brakes. That's how I learned to drive off-road and whilst taking people on a game drive. So it's just like old times. Whoopsie. We'll just reevaluate, see if I've still got the skills I used to have. We spoke a little bit about the dynamics within our lion prides that occurred as the Birmingham boy takeover happened. And we have a question about whether or not, after the Birmingham boys killed the Styx females' cubs, whether or not they would ever eat those cubs, or what would occur from there. And I'm going to answer you in one moment. So Century Otter, that was a question from you. The answer is, it very much depends on how the male's feeling at the time. Yeah, they're lying down again. Awesome.